Welcome to the podcast, first guest.
Wait. Now we are live.
We're live now, started early. Welcome to the podcast. You've had your brief on what you are and aren't allowed to say.
Yeah, I'm willing to comply.
Ready to
Thank
go?
you. Yeah,
thank you for complying.
Yeah, thank you for having me on as well.
So, first guest, I'm going to start these podcasts by asking a question from the last guest. I did the first podcast, so my question to you to get us kicked off is, you've got a dinner guest. You can pick anyone from three categories. You've got celebrities, other people in fitness, and then you've got someone that you've known from your life, past or present. So we'll start from the beginning. Celebrity.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you're going for?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
What a beast. Mr. Olympia. Film star. The Governor. He's done it all, hasn't he?
Interesting. Yeah, I think he'd be an interesting.
Yeah.
See, I was
obviously he's not perfect, but no one is. But I think he's a good
thought
choice.
you would have said the guy that did the podcast recently with Jordan Peterson. What's his name?
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins is a good
yeah.
competitor.
To be
for
fair, you've just. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it though.
Okay.
But that would have been. That's a good option. That is a good option.
Yeah. Okay. It would also be very fun to watch your accent and his in a conversation.
Yeah, I think it'd be
That'd
great.
be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. Someone in fitness. You obviously can't pick me. I know I would have been your first choice.
Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of is in fitness, isn't it?
I mean, someone that you know that's kind of you take inspiration from. You'd have a good conversation with over dinner.
In fitness. In fitness. Who? Got to pick someone, huh? Brian Shaw, who was world's strongest man.
Okay, interesting.
American bloke.
I wouldn't have put you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think I'd enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then last one, someone personal,
Um,
past, present.
probably my mum's dad.
Okay.
Yeah. So he passed away when I was in year 8.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I got enough opportunity to
Yeah.
spend with him or have like a good relationship, and I didn't really as an adult. So yeah, definitely.
I think the same. Like with my nan, like the conversation you would have now as a fully grown adult would be interesting to get that perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting. Okay, we'll come back onto that. So you've got a question for the next guest.
Right. Okay.
So
sick.
you need to think about that.
Sick.
So let's jump in straight away.
Mm-hmm.
I want this to be, I know a lot about you, so I want to come away from this knowing something, because then I know that the people listening to this will also have learnt something. So let's start with your motivation and driver. Maybe not the stuff that you would speak about on Instagram. What motivates you on a daily basis, and what is driving you forward at the moment? What's maybe like the 5-10 year plan? Life, business, training, Christian. Give you the floor for
Can I
that.
swear on it?
You can swear, yeah, but whatever you say, I'm not associating with. I will say that all opinions of Christian are his own and not mine,
Yeah. Right. Well.
unless I chime in and I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, fucking hell, that's a big question. So, my main drivers now, with everything, I think the way I break it up that just makes it super easily just to compartmentalise it for me is like business, physique, family. And family is like family relationships, physique's just anything to do with training and health. And obviously business is business, and I suppose coaching, mentoring, everything that's sort of coming to be. My main drivers with my training stuff at the minute is fun. I want to enjoy it. That's why I'm doing back into the powerlifting style stuff. So I really enjoy it. I get obsessive over the numbers, things like that. And I get obsessive. I actually, in a really weird way, I like the idea of like, it's so easy to get injured. So it's like you've got to be quite intelligent with things, and you've got to work around things. You can't just say, well, like with the regular bodybuilding training, what have you, say, well, I can't squat, it doesn't matter, I'll just do a leg press or a leg extension, move on. Whereas this, you got to kind of like, okay, got to go to the physio, learn some things, speak to him, collaborate, and there's that sort of element. So like, yeah, that sort of like childlike curiosity and just having fun with it. That's the training at the minute.
Where do you think that risk comes from? Have you always been quite risky?
Yeah, probably more than like my immediate friendship group. Yeah, I would say so. I suppose I'm the only one out of my immediate friendship group that I used to originally knock about with, that has their own business and that type of stuff. But yeah, I'd say that's with the training side of things anyway. With the with like the business and coaching side of things, I suppose what's driving me at the minute, there's two things. One that I speak about on Instagram, I suppose, more often, which is probably like the thing of, I really do want to be what I consider. Not that if I didn't smash it in business, I wouldn't be a good dad and a good partner, but like I have this image of like, well, you know, we've only got fucking one crack at it. Why not have this image of where we could be and, you know, where we could be living, or the freedom that I have with my time, and then still able to, if there's something that people want to do in the household, I can just say yes, don't have to worry about it, don't have to worry about money. So from a business perspective, there's that. That drives me from, and I speak about that a lot from the coaching perspective. What drives me is just getting sick fucking results. Like, I just love it. It gives me a good, like, I like helping people, and it is, I do get a great buzz off it. And it's, I suppose, is that a selfless thing? I'm not sure. It's kind of, I suppose it's selfish in a way, because you do get a great feeling.
I suppose though that the guys that come to you are wanting to be on it in business or work, on it in training, like all the things that you, those three things that you bracket in. That's what you're basically preaching to other people. So you've kind of got to lead from the front, right? Yeah,
no, that's it. And yeah, it helps that they're sort of my ideals, because then they always say like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So like that makes sense. But I suppose the driver that I don't speak about much on Instagram and things like that, and something that's probably just like I don't really speak to many people about it, is like I have this thing where it's like I kind of need to be good at something, and I feel like I've never really been that good at anything yet.
You think?
From like yeah, so like when I was younger, I played football because my mates did it, and I was shit. But I wasn't bothered about it. Went and played rugby, got a lot better at that. Got trials at Giants when I was at college, which is like the Huddersfield, you know, rugby league team. For whatever reason, ended up stopping that, which was another conversation. And then
that we will have.
Yeah, brilliant. And then like I was kind of like I had a few years off rugby, and that was my life for a little bit. With like the rugby stuff, like I didn't care about college or failing my A levels. I didn't give a shit. I just went to the gym and played rugby, and I didn't care. And yeah, I was like 16 then, and then it was kind of like I thought, right, well, fucking, all I want to do is go to the gym. So I did an S&C degree at university. I did my Master of Science, and I suppose I was sort of chasing that. That was my vehicle of trying to be good at something then. Well, I don't know anybody else. None of my other mates got fucking masters. You know what I mean? It's almost this thing of like, well, this is what I'm good at then. And then stuck with the coaching. This is what I'm good at. It's what I'm obsessed with. It's what I enjoy. And I think now it's become a business, which I don't know I'm doing that because it is a business, but it doesn't feel like it because it's always just been something I've just been passionate about. It's just like the gym side of things, and I'd have been doing it whether I like if I didn't make any money doing it, I'd have still been doing it. Like when I came out of university, I was like, I said, fucking, if I could like own a gym or something and I'd do like 30-40 grand a year, I'd be buzzing, you know. And I never really thought of it as a vehicle to like make loads of money. I just thought if I could have a fucking life if I could have a life where I could actually just, you know, make a living and do something I want to do, buzzing.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to be good at it, and I suppose that's still now it's become more into the business side of things, and I'm learning about marketing and all them types of things and sales and how to run a business properly, and all that ties into as well being a better, like delivering a better service as well to the guys that come in.
Yeah.
I've become more obsessed with. That's the thing that I want to be good at. So that is probably a driver that I don't speak about. That probably comes from like a deficit in a sense.
Yeah, and I think knowing you as well as I do, you getting good at all that other stuff like the marketing and the sales, that ties into you being more with your guys. Like the reason you want to get good at that is so that you can be more present with those,
with my family,
with the family, with your clients.
Yeah, sorry, got you.
So you can actually make sure. Because we both know, like, results, that's what you're fucking sick at, right? I'll break the curse.
Yeah.
I'll break that already, but that's what you're good at, right? And that's where you really have a passion. Like, you're more geeky than me.
With the training,
like, you actually enjoy all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that the reason you want to be good at that, kind of go out on a limb and put words in your mouth, is so that you can continue to do that. So that you're not spending loads of time in that sort of, like, marketing on Instagram. You want to kind of be in with clients.
Weirdly, I kind of like both now.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of like both, and you know, we've got other coaches in now. Obviously, we've got Inash. We've got another guy coming in, which I'm not going to say about yet. He's
Jack though.
Yeah.
He's jacked.
Yeah, he's Jack.
He's Jack.
Yeah. Not supposed to tell him. But yeah, no, I do like the delivery side of things, the coaching. But like almost like the business side of things, I've sort of it's become one in the same.
Yeah.
And like it feels weird to say that, but like yeah, I want to push both, and I want to be good with like the service has to be class and the results have to be class.
Yeah.
But I also think why not do that? Serve more guys.
Do you think there's a part of that where you want to help as many people as you can, so you've got to get out there and be seen?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, if you play it small with the business side of things, you can only coach and help so many people. Whereas if you play it big, and you bring other coaches in, like I'm starting to do now, and you try and work with more guys, but keeping the service high because you're not just trying to do them all yourself.
Yeah.
Which is where I would have gone wrong if I didn't learn a bit more about business. Yeah, you can't. This way that I'm doing it now, I can help more guys, 100%.
Okay. So, I'm going to pull your leg here. Younger brother Tom.
Fucking asshole.
I'm guessing that kind of like, obviously a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
Was that a big part of like you wanting to be sick at coaching, you wanting to be disciplined? Like, is that part of it?
I think like, so yeah, it is. But I wouldn't say it was like, there wasn't like a conscious thought of saying like, my brother does this. He goes to the gym and he's going to be a coach. I want to do what Tom does.
Okay.
It wasn't like that. It was just like, I think there's a sort of thing of like, you're the average of the people you spend the most time with. I lived with my brother. He went to the gym. You know, he was building muscle, what have you. Plus it also helped that it gave me a bit of stick. You know? I remember walking into his bedroom once and it was like, I must have been, I don't know, I must be like a 12. And he was like 16, you know, so like, you know, probably benched like 100 kilos for like 15 reps at a time. You're a beast for his age. And he was like, your chest is inside out, Christy. He said something like that, like you fucking, you know, just giving me some shit, like your belly's sticking out more than your chest. I want fat.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of stick given there, and you know, I grew up watching all like the, you know, the Arnie films and shit, like, and yeah, I think that combination with our Tom pushing it, and it'll definitely influence me. Yeah, it'd be silly to say it wouldn't have done.
So that's just reminded me of a story. One of my good friends, we used to PT in the same gym, so technically we were like rivaling businesses.
Yeah,
he's a big guy, 6'4", 5", muscly ex-rugby player, and there was a girl in the gym that I kind of liked. She had no interest in me whatsoever.
Awesome.
And I was on a lat pull down, and he come over and he was like, "You're not going to impress her with fucking legs like that, are you?" And I was like, "Whoa, that's the next 2 years of gym motivation." And then I kind of went on to like, actually work for him. He set up his own gym, and then
that's brilliant.
You know, he was like, that was motivation for a long time.
That's
like,
brilliant.
Fuck you, how about I'll show you about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think those figures are. I think we subconsciously, like we unconsciously, like want to sort of prove something.
Yeah, I think something. I did a book last year that kind of put it in perspective for me, because sometimes you can kind of get a negative, you can get negative ideas around that type of thing and think, oh, is that really good that that's sort of driving you? And then I did a book by that Dr. DeMartini called The Values Factor, and he speaks about your values, things that you essentially just like care about, spend the most time doing, spend the most time thinking about, spend the most money on, etc., etc. And he says, and it might be intertwined with your goals is usually your values. And he was saying, your deficits typically drive your values.
Yeah.
He didn't say it's not a bad thing. It's just like the way it is. So it's like it's why, you know, it's quite not. I suppose it's almost cliche that the people that come from not much money generally want to earn a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
And that's where they start with the motivators. People that are skinny want to get jacked.
Me and a friend were talking about this the other day, in the sense of like you do get a lot of guys that go into the gym space, get great results straight away off the bat, and they kind of fizzle out maybe after a year or two, and you don't really see much of them again. Whereas the guys that you see that start as skinny lads that really have to fight for it, they're usually the guys that get to that sort of high level and stay there. Obviously when you're getting into like the elite level, it's usually a combination of they've got something in the teeth and they've also got amazing genetics, right? But most of those guys that are really been at it for over a decade, it starts from like that deficit, right?
Yeah, I think so a lot. You know, definitely with me in certain aspects that I didn't see before. But yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
Overall, net positive.
Yeah. So, powerlifting, rugby,
Mm-hmm.
cover both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Run it back on the rugby space for me. Like, what's the attraction with rugby? I know a lot of guys that you coach are rugby players. Let's run through how that started, and then we'll kind of get into some good experiences. I know I asked you a couple of days ago about good experiences. We'll go for like funny experiences and that you're allowed to tell on here.
Yeah.
Go on.
I don't, yeah.
So where did that start?
Rugby. So basically, it was the closest thing to professional wrestling that I could do that was like a normal sport near me. So when I was a kid, I used to watch like Goldberg used to spear people.
What would your professional wrestling name be? What would you go for?
Fuck me, I don't know.
Is that would be your nickname?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Here comes big fuck me.
Yeah. No, I don't have a clue. Yeah. But yeah, with the rugby, it was like a little bit of that, and then I like the contact element basically.
Okay.
That excited me, and I quickly found out.
The hugging the other lads in the locker room, or like the actual rugby? Which part of the contact there?
Both, really.
Both. Okay. Yeah.
But I realised quickly that it's like, very quickly, it's like, oh yeah, it's not as easy it's not as easy as you think, and then that actually tied into me getting into that actually really helped me with the motivation with the gym side of things. Because I saw a deficit there in the rugby as well. Because I started rugby around that same time, around 11, 12. And yeah, I remember playing against a school team when I was in primary school. Played in the year 6 team for Meltham Junior School. Played against played in like a tournament. And there was a kid in the year below. He actually plays Super League now. And he was a year below me, playing on the other team, and he played since we were like 5. This is my first ever game I ever played. And he just felt like a fully grown man running into me. And I was like, fuck's sake. So I quickly learned, right, I need to get stronger. So I was doing the push-ups and stuff at home, bicep curls. And then when I actually started lifting properly, a bit like deadlifts, well, properly, you made a rubber out you so you can get away with doing dumb shit. But like I started doing like the bigger movements. That's when I sort of carry over to rugby. Confidence got up in that. I used to it's one of them things I could just be obsessive about as well. Like I lived in the sticks with my parents who weren't near the other kids really. We didn't have Sky Sports either, so I wasn't really I wanted to just be doing rugby stuff because that's what I was obsessed with at the time. So I used to take the rugby ball in the garden and just throw it against this tree stump most days. And then I'd take a rugby ball to school every day. That's when I ended up playing a position that was like more focused around like passing the ball, defence in the middle. So I played hooker for a bit, and I ended up going to was at Meltham All Blacks, which from my age group wasn't very good. Brutally honest, sorry anyone. I wasn't very good either. Then I went to Newsham Panthers, which was like the best team in my area for my age group, and like I just developed as a player like 10 times, and I got into like the Kirklees service area team that year. Paul McGraw couldn't play.
Okay.
Then I got in from there. The guy who was coaching that was coach at Giants, so he asked me to go down there. And then so that was like rugby. So I was like all obsessed and loved it, and so that was the rugby side of things really. And then I had a few years off. Went to university. Was getting convinced by some other lads to go play rugby league because they saw me in some rugby stash that I had from when I was younger. I didn't play in the first year. I was like, I'll just keep getting injured because that's what happened all the time. It was like my ankle kept twisting on my groin and go. And then whilst I was at university in my second year, between first and second year, I did a placement at Featherstone Rovers Rugby League, which is like a Championship 1 professional rugby league team from Yorkshire. And the physio there, first physio I've spoken to that actually filled me with confidence, is like, if you do X, Y, and Z and you tape it up, you'll be fine. And I haven't been told that by anyone yet. Yeah. And I was like, right, I just needed to borrow someone else's confidence. Did exactly what he said. Next year I played rugby again, and then I did 3 years again playing rugby after having 3 years off, which felt like an eternity at that stage. And I really got into it again at university. Got on the social side as well with all lads that I lived with and stuff, and it were a big part of my life for like 3 years.
Yeah. What was something that kind of triggered in my brain then, because I know you coach a lot of lads that are maybe coming away from rugby or are still playing. Mm-hmm. What would you say to a lad that's maybe come away from rugby now, it's been most of their life, and they want to get in great shape, they want to start focusing on the physique, because I know that's what a lot of those guys want to get into, maybe some lifting, some powerlifting. They've probably dabbled, right, if they played rugby, but like get into that sort of 1% physique that a lot of your guys get to. What would you say to someone that's coming off the field now?
Yeah, first of all, when you've been playing rugby for that long, and if you've been, it takes up a lot of, you get a lot from it in terms of like social stuff, like social connection. They end up being you. When I played rugby league as I got older and what have you, and I played at university, they were like my best mates for that period of time. So it's like you sort of like, you come away from that, the people that you, and you know, amateurs, if someone that plays like amateur rugby, a lot of the guys that end up coming onto the programme for more physique development stuff, them lads that you're playing with, you also drink with, you also speak to outside, you probably have a group chat, you might call one of them most weeks. So it's like, it's some people, lads that you're really close with. And if you stop playing rugby, some guys are still playing rugby when they come into the programme, by the way, but if you stop playing rugby and you're missing that, that community element's definitely missing. But yeah, the thing I'd say in terms of advice, if you want to get your physique absolutely nuts and you've been playing rugby all the time, is get a coach. And that's like, you know, you might not be a good fit for what we do, but you should get a coach, because ultimately, you know how to get stuck in, you know how to work hard, you know how to have a laugh. You probably are a good fit for what we do, to be fair, when I'm saying these things out loud. But it's like one of them, you know, most lads that play rugby, they kind of know what they're doing. In, you know, most lads who play rugby go to the gym. There's like probably, I'd say it's more like 80% of the lads go to the gym that play rugby. There's like 20% that don't.
Yeah. They're
usually actually the really good players that don't bother going to the gym because they don't have that deficit. They just feel, oh, I'm fucking sick, I don't need to, don't care. But the education piece is usually missing. And then when they come away from rugby and they're doing less output, they're not running as much, they're not playing 80 minutes of rugby, you know, they just get fatter and fatter, they just gain weight over time. You know, so I think, yeah, get a coach, invest, you know, if you've got the money to do so, get investing and sort it out, and learn the tools to be able to do it for life as well, and get around some other lads.
I think what you said there about, I know what, like the common phrase, I know what I need to do. I just can't seem to do it right. Yeah. Well, why aren't you doing it then? What would you say at the back end of that? Well, yeah, I know that, Christian. I know what I need to do. Yeah. Just can't seem to do it.
Yeah, I think when you play a team sport, you've got accountability to be at the training every single time. Like, you don't want to let your mates down. You don't want to let the team down. So there's that part of it. You also don't want to play shit on the weekend. You get shown up pretty quick. If you haven't been, I mean, like, you know, it might not mean you have to be like eating a particular way or being really on it with stuff, but like, you know, if you've been getting pissed on a Friday night and you're playing on a Saturday, you might play like shit. All of a sudden you're embarrassed. You've pulled your fucking back out. Whatever you. So it's like it's a good accountability piece is playing team sport, and if you're coming away from that and you no longer have it, that can be a big reason why people can't get in shape after they've finished like a team sport and stuff, and they feel like they're just getting worse and they can't seem to be able to fix it, even though, oh no, I have to go to the gym, and usually as well they usually don't know as much as they think they know as well.
And what you do when you're 18, when you're living in your mum's box room, activity-wise, right? Yeah. It's very different to what you do when you're 30 and you've got a couple of kids. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've not got all the workout plans, the training, everything like that. The stuff that you did when you was in your early 20s, your teens, ain't gonna work when you're in your 30s and your 40s. Yeah. Like even fuck me, I'm only 30. I'm like lack of sleep, working more, etc.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but.
Yeah, cheers, mate. But like, my body's not holding up the same.
No,
I can't tolerate the same amount of training at the minute
because of what you were thrown at when you were 18, 19, 20.
100%, mate. You made a rubber. You made a rubber.
I think you are.
Yeah.
It's just kicking in for me now, sort of 26, 27.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's silly shit I did when I was younger.
There you go.
What a good idea.
The thing is, like, you can actually get back to training like a beast. You just have to build yourself back up, and you've got to do it intelligently.
Yeah. Consistency is the secret that most people are missing, right? The secret that people want is just consistently do something.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fit for you.
100%. And they find that difficult because their expectations of what they need to be consistent with is usually way off than what they actually need to do.
Yeah. So, guilty pleasure. What's new for Christian the last sort of
guilty
3-4 years? Yeah. Nothing seedy, right? Keep it. What would somebody not know that you enjoy doing? What's like the go-to thing?
I enjoy doing, that's the go-to thing. Mate, I'd say like napping, putting my eye mask on in the middle of the day, putting on some non-sleep deep rest, which is like guided meditation, and just laying down for like anywhere from 10 minutes to.
That's a right dad answer, that, isn't it? I'm like snowboarding, music. Sorry, we're just having some technical difficulties, boys. We all good? 5 minutes left. Fucking hell, gonna have to wrap this up then, kid. So, Right, we've got 5 minutes left and then we're cutting. You can talk. You're not in a box, boys. You are allowed to speak.
5 minutes and your tea's ready. Wrap it up.
Yeah, all right, Mum, I'm coming.
Are you still talking? First half, 5 minutes left.
Brilliant, beautiful.
Okay, and then we'll have an intermission. You can have a drink. And then
Yeah,
we'll crack
sick.
on. Right. So, mission, business. What do you want to get to sort of in the next 2-3 years? What do you want for your guys? What do you want to be able to provide them with? What's the next step for CJ Summers training? I know that. So this thought kind of came up from what we were speaking about where you went to the spa, the experience there, and like wanting to take guys to do stuff like that.
You mean my coaching clients on my team?
Coaching clients.
Yeah. I don't want to take my clients to the spa, by the way.
No.
I mean, that'd be great, but yeah. So I just basically, like, with the coaching side of things, I want to be able to provide the same quality service we're doing right now, but on a larger scale, and help more guys. By doing that, the community is going to get bigger, and the events can get better. Then we do the events every quarter, and although the events are really good, the smaller, the more intimate. They're authentically how I operate, and they are good. And a lot of people don't realise we do them with the online coaching piece, but we do, and that's every quarter. I want to make them bigger, and that's something I can do this year. So the one that I do in the middle of this year, I want to make that bigger. I want to book out like a hotel, a room in a hotel, presentation, do the full job lot. Like, there's a few lads that I know that are in this space that do the same as us and that have done that recently. And I've known that I wanted to do that for a couple of years, and they've sort of like, one of them's jumped ahead and just done it, and I'm like kicking myself, like, why have I not just done that?
Yeah.
And I think part of it's because I think coming back to the deficit thing, I don't think there's been a real deficit with my meetups. Like, the guys love them, they're intimate. Like, we get everyone together, we get some training in, I give everyone some stash. We do a bit of a strategy piece where we talk about things that people probably don't expect us to talk about, like family relationships, professional life, business, and then the physique stuff, not just the physique stuff. And it's like, we don't get people to like speak if they don't want to speak about something, but we kind of strategize around like what's gone well, what you're currently struggling with, where do you want to be. So yeah, we
Don't all sit around in a circle and like, you've got to go next. And
no, it's not like that. No. And then I take everyone out for food, so it's like the meetups are already good. But yeah, I want to be able to provide the same quality service, if not better, better with the meetups, larger scale, help more guys, and then also because I'm going to be able to because I'm bringing in more coaches. Eventually, it'll pull me out of doing less of the one-to-one stuff, and I can do more of the one-to-many stuff. So the group calls that I do, I still want to be delivering the majority of them, and it's going to free me up to have more time to prepare for them and just make them fucking awesome, basically.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to take that.
Awesome. Should we cut there? Yeah. Ready?
Hair. Time.
Ready when you are.
Right. We're back. We just had a little brew break. Owen's just asked us if creatine leads to hair loss, and we would like to formally say
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
It definitely,
doesn't. If you want to take anybody's advice,
it's us, the balding men.
Yeah, it's not the creatine. So you said something to me the other day that was, I'd basically come to you and said, I've got so much shit on at the minute. I just finally feel like I've got myself to the place where I'm smoking everything, it's going well. And you were like, maybe you've been smoking it and you need to smash it so that you can deal with this at the minute. Just give me your take on that. Where did that come from?
I don't honestly know.
That's good advice. That's the best advice I've had in years.
Yeah, so for context, you had a lot going on last week, some personal stuff, and but you felt like you personally was in a really good spot, the best
place
you've
I've been in years.
Yeah, but then all this stuff just happened. Everyone around you was like, and I just think, I suppose, I don't know, it just came out. I do think that, I don't know, I think naturally sometimes I'd just try and, that's just something I'd naturally try and say to someone, stuff like that. And I think it was just because
profound to me, but you just didn't mean it in that context.
No, I did, but like I didn't. There wasn't much thinking that went into it. I was just like, I was essentially trying to make you feel better there and then. But then it's about perspective. I suppose the biggest, one of the biggest things that have had an impact on me in recent years is like how you can control your own perception. And when you hit me with that, and you're like, I'm just like, I'm quite irritating to some people. I think sometimes I've got better at not just saying stuff like that to people, because some people don't want you to just tell them how it's a good thing that's happening now when it's a bad thing. And they want to just sit there in it for a bit and maybe want you to sit there with them. But like naturally, like I have them types of conversations with me, and whether it's completely factual or not, if you can believe it, it's going to fucking help you, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's true as long as you believe it.
Yeah, and it's going to help you, which is what matters. So yeah, like I just naturally said that. That's sort of the dialogue I have with myself when I actually give myself time to think. Then types of things just like come to head, and then I either laugh at myself and crack on, or yeah.
Okay.
But
So-
I'm glad that did help.
It was profound.
Really glad that helped.
So something that I've been looking at recently is the Solomon's paradox. So Solomon was like a king ruler, and people used to come from miles away to speak to Solomon, and he'd give great advice, but his life was a shit show. So he was like sleeping with other people that weren't his wife, he was drinking loads. His life as a king was pretty shit.
Wow.
But the advice he gave, people would get, and they would, I don't know if this is made up or if this was an actual thing back in the day, people would go and use his advice and change their life like that. So in the spirit of Solomon's paradox, what advice do you give to others? This is quite a hard question. You've got to take some reflection on this. What advice do you give to others that you need to take more of in your own life? What's the focus for you at the minute that you need to?
The one that I have to constantly remind myself is the balance between business and family time, and sleep. A lot of stuff that I speak about, to be honest. So yeah, maybe that.
Why does the balance bother you? I know that's kind of like a cheesy question.
No.
Why does that bother you?
Yeah, no. I think it's super important. Isn't it? I don't think there's ultimately, if you're, for me, from my perspective, this is talk about myself, because I know not everyone's values are the same. I know a lot of the guys I speak to, the values are the same as this. What's the point in having a fucking sick physique if your business is shit? Or what's the point in having a sick business if your missus leaves you and your kid doesn't have a fat present father at all? But then equally so, I wouldn't say what's the point, but I also wouldn't be happy if I was super present at home and I was with them all the time, but I was in terrible shape and I wasn't doing anything fulfilling in a professional sense either. So I think it's important when I speak about balance. I think that's where it comes from. That's just like what I think you need, all three.
There's a lot of people that would say you can't have everything. You can't have all three. And it's like a common thought of like, you can't have all three.
Yeah.
I think you can't have all three at the top 1%. So if you want a 1% physique, you can't really have a 1% business and a 1% family. Maybe there's people out there that can, but for the general pop, maybe not possible. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's something that I battle with sometimes. But I think once again, it's like a perspective and a perception sort of thing. I think, no, I truly believe like, when you think, like, what is a 1% business for you? Like, and we might not, do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, a 1% business might be...
I mean, 1% physique is tangible. Like, we can actually say what that looks like.
Yeah, like, say, for example, you want to be... And it depends what your perspective is of them things. So, like, yeah, if you're talking about a professional bodybuilder that's competing and winning Mr. Olympia and stuff like that, like, yeah, that probably wouldn't happen if that was the only thing I did anyway.
Yeah.
You know? But if you're talking about, like, if I want to go in a phase where I'm, like, ripped and I have abs, if anything, that's going to help my business. Do you know what I mean? I don't see that being an issue. And then from the business perspective and stuff like that, like, I think what I'm learning recently, this is the ironic thing, right? I used to think my daughter's she turned 2 in December, and one of the things I've found challenging throughout this process is how much my time's demanded back after 5 o'clock. Whereas before, I'd be able to work until like 8 or 9 p.m. and it wouldn't really be an issue. Me and Penny would have like an hour before bed and chill out and have the weekends and stuff, and you know, it wasn't really an issue. And you know, maybe I used to even meet her at lunchtime sometimes, so we had like nice balance, and I could work all day. And like the first thing what I found difficult at first with having my daughter was I have to finish work at 5 o'clock. How can I do this? I never feel like I'm getting everything done in the business. I can't push everything at the same time. Like, this is challenging. Or that'd be like the negative self-talk that come in occasionally. But what I found is, because I really want both to do well, I thought, oh, there's this beautiful thing called delegation, and maybe there's some other people that like to do things that are just as good at it as you are, or maybe even better at shit than you are. So now I am working less, so I do finish a bit earlier, so I'm spending time with the family, but then also the business is doing better.
Yeah.
So I think
Got to give from
it's
a full cup.
ironic. Yeah, it's ironic really, because it was like, oh my God, this thing's going to harm it. And it's like, it's forced me to be accountable and actually delegate sooner and do something that I was probably scared to do in the business sooner, because I'm like, I don't want to see the business fail. I definitely don't want to see my relationship. I definitely don't want to be a present father or see my relationship with Penny fail. So both of them have got better together, which is bonkers. So I think, to answer your question, my take on you can't be great at all of them, I think it's outlining what great is to you, and then I think, yeah, you probably can be great, and like, yeah, it might not be bloody Mr. Tesla, it might not be Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, but like stuff that you'd have never thought you'd achieve in your wildest dreams from a business perspective. I'm confident I can achieve that. I'm confident, you know, you can achieve that. Other people can achieve that whilst also being in ridiculously good shape. I think that, like I said before, I think that helps. And then having the family, yeah, I think you can do it all.
I think that's just kind of like made me have a thought on something I spoke to a client about today. Like, actually write down what would be really good for you, because most people don't have a fucking clue what they actually want. You ask people, what is it you want? What are you struggling on? And they're like, I don't know. Well, maybe that's the start. Maybe we should start there. Like, actually write down what you want, and then it's going to be a lot easier to get there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the question that comes up for me with, like, what we were talking about with deficits, I personally think it's good to have some deficits, you know, as not love, right? As a kid, it's good to have some deficits, some things to chase, like things that you actually want. What do you want to make sure that Florence has? But what do you also want to make sure that she's got as a drive? Like, what do you consciously think about that as a parent?
I'm very conscious about how I think about raising Florence and things that are to come and stuff like that. And I was speaking to a client today who's in her 60s, speaking about kids when they're teenage years, and you know, all sorts of different analogies and things like this. And so yeah, I'm quite deep. I probably think about it. Probably a deep thinker with most things. I haven't actually thought about what in terms of like creating, making sure. Essentially, like the main thing is like the main thing that comes to mind is, or the main two things that come to mind is, I don't want to provide like a really super cushy lifestyle and her just be a spoilt brat. You don't want that. And I think, to be fair, like, in all fairness as well, like, even though my parents weren't like millionaires or anything like that, we had an easy life, you know, financially. And for quite a few years there, me and our Tom didn't really care about earning money. So we never came from the deficit of that at first at all. And I think that were a bit of a hindrance to us. And I think the ways I'd probably counteract that, it might, you know, there's different ways you can sort of do that, right? But
now your focus isn't on that; it's on impact, and
yeah. And I think
probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, I think once I come to that, I am mindful of that though, because I noticed that affected my drive. And then one of my best friends, he didn't have much money growing up, and that was a big driver of his. Yeah. Straight out the gates, like everyone else went to university. We all had parents that were what have you. His parents had split. He didn't have much money growing up at all, so he just worked straight away. Got a house when we were all at uni, still getting pissed, and he was just grafting. But in some ways, I'd say that's hurt him as well.
That was probably present with me. So like, my mum worked her bollocks off, like single mum, lost my dad when I was 2, made sure that she raised me, then had jobs in like in between times. Like, reflecting upon it now, she she did a really good job. She did the best with what she got. But then equally, like, I probably went through that where I was like, right, I'm going to get a job. I want to make loads of money on like PTing on the gym floor. And then I did, like, I had loads of clients, worked myself to the bone, like, was still doing good work, but like wanted the flashy designer stuff. And I think back now to when I was 21, like, some of the stuff I spent stupid money on, and I cut about now in like old jerseys, vests that are like £5. Like, I had to work through that. I'm glad that I did, but I think like that comes back onto that deficits again, doesn't it? I think a lot of people could learn from that, like listening back to this. What were your deficits? Why do you do the things you do? What are your drivers? I like that. I interrupted you, so let you jump back in if you can remember what you were saying about what you want Florence to have and not have.
Yeah, so I think there's that. I want to be able to, you know, provide if they want to go do something. Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, there's that. And I don't think as much of so that's the financial thing that comes front of mind. The thing that I definitely wanted to have is a present father, and like me and Penny to be, and not just. I mean, there's so much good information out there now about this stuff that makes you more aware of it and stuff, which is brilliant. So it's like not just me being present with her, but then also me showing her by how I speak to Penny and how I interact with Penny, how men should be with women as well. So I'm aware of that type of thing as well, which I never would have thought of years ago. I don't think many blokes would have thought years ago, even like, you know, older generations and things like that. But yeah, I'm aware of that. And then another thing I'm very aware of is body image stuff. With me being in the fitness industry, like already, and it makes me think, Florence goes and steps on the weighing scale in the bathroom because she sees her daddy do it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, she doesn't need to know what she wears.
Yeah, I speak to so many people about this. Like, I obviously coach, have coached men and women in the past. I know you're just guys, and I'm going down the just guys route. But a lot of women in my generation that like watch their mum do Weight Watchers, get on the scale and be like, "Oh, I'm fat," and then that's how they talk now because that's what they heard their mum say. And my mum did like Weight Watchers and all that sort of stuff, and they probably didn't realise what they were doing, but like I probably went through a period of scales like where I was like, oh god, I need to lose weight when I was like 17, 18. So I think that's definitely present, right?
Yeah, I think that's important to watch out for, and that thing of also just minding you, like watching yourself and how you speak to yourself, like with your own stuff. Like you know, me being in like a bit of a gaining phase now, like. Shouldn't need to do any intricacies of that, and like me saying, kind of feel like a bit of a fat bastard now. Like I shouldn't be saying stuff like I shouldn't need to hear that either.
No.
And I think it's just a case of on that point as well for those that are listening, parents. I was speaking to someone else about this the other day who had kids, and we were speaking about what do you do if you have a child that's overweight, and you're like, what should you do about that? It's like you actually don't say fuck all, in my opinion. You just lead from the front. And then if they bring it up and they want help, then potentially that's something else that you look down. I don't think you should ever tell your kid that they're a fat bastard or whatever, you know, especially if they're young.
Not. That's one of the comments we definitely don't support if Christian wants that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the main thing that I'd say is like I wanted to have, but not necessarily create a deficit on, is the money side of things. I just don't want it to be entitled or privileged and that type in them ways.
Yeah, I think coming back onto what you just said there is like a lot of parents probably don't realise how much of an impact they could have on their kids by, you know, getting into shape and being a leader from the front. You can only lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And I think someone asked me this the other day, like, how do I tell someone that I know that they kind of need to get in shape? Like, I'm really worried about them, like it was a family member. Like, I'm really worried about them and I want them to get into shape. And I was like, do you think you're doing your best in it? And they were like, well, no. So it's kind of comes into the Solomon paradox again, right? Where it's like, are you just giving good advice? Like, lead from the front. If you do it, people can follow and probably will follow, but fat shaming, telling someone that they need to do something, I don't think is really an effective thing.
Mainly for the child as well.
Yeah, definitely don't be.
But if they're your best mate,
no, I don't agree.
If they're your best mate, and you're in shape,
I don't think it does anything. I just think it makes people feel bad.
I disagree.
Okay.
Only because of Samhurst.
Knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe if they're like your closest friend, maybe you could.
Yeah. I didn't just say
But
I didn't just say you're a fat bastard. I says, listen, I'm going to coach you like anyone else. You lose 23 kilos
I think
in the
it's
next
a
5
different
months,
when you're a coach.
and I'll give you your money back.
So you had a bet.
And he was
with
like,
him.
yeah.
You basically had a bet with him.
He was like, yeah. And then he lost it I said if you lose it by August, and he lost it by May. That was January
he
20,
really stuck
January
that in and
2021.
Showed you, didn't he?
Well, he did, and I didn't give him his money back.
You bastard! You absolute bastard!
He missed payments.
No, you can't
yeah.
out him. So you didn't pay him, and now you're outing him. So you owe him that money.
Hey, he's lost 10 stone.
Yeah, and he's lost the money you owed him as well. You tight
He's
bastard.
he's lost 10 stone. He looked like a beast on his wedding day. He
Yeah,
did a
he
photo
does
shoot.
look
He's changed his
sick.
life. He's a machine.
But
And now he has something else to balance with.
didn't even give him his money as a wedding gift.
I did actually. I did give him some cash as a wedding gift.
Okay. Yeah, you look like a good guy now. So, Tristian, my favourite thing about you. I think Tristian is a part of you. I don't think it's a character. I think it's like
My alter
the
ego.
stupidest part of you just let loose. Where did that come from?
That's a good
Where
question.
did that idea come from?
That's a really good question. I was doing some recording with the guy I use for videographer. So the main guy I use is Joe Castle. Well, him and his missus, who I call Miss Rigby, Ella. They have Elevate Creative now. It was Elevate Drone Videography, what have you. And originally it was just Joe. And anyway, he used to do, when I was personal training on the gym floor originally, at the Unit Fitness in Honley, he was recording some content with me. And I was into powerlifting at the time then as well, before I had like a couple of years hiatus from that and did more of the physique stuff. And I think he was just like, I just came up, I was thinking of a way of like demonstrating the squat, bench and the deadlift, and I thought, do you know what, let's just fucking do it like I tell you what, why don't we do it like where I just do it all wrong? And then I was just like, I just came up with it, I was like, let's just do like, I'll do like an alter ego, we'll call him, he was just a fucking idiot. And good choice words. He was just an idiot.
Yeah.
And I thought, we'll do that, and we'll just fucking call him Tristian. And
Now he's got adventures, hasn't he? He can spin
yeah,
all
so
over
that's
the place.
it. When I first went, and the first gym I ever went to when I was 14, the manager Barry, this big Cockney bloke, I don't know what he's doing in Huddersfield, but a great guy, and he used to call me Mr. Tristan. My name's Christian. He used to call me, Mr. Tristan. I'm thinking,
That was the worst Cockney accent I've ever heard.
I'm thinking, yeah, that was terrible.
That was
I
terrible.
was like, my name's Christian. Anyway, so yeah, I think a bit of it came from that, and then yeah, we just cracked on, and they became the most popular videos I ever do. I can do a really well thought out video, and then I do a Tristian, video, and they just absolutely blow up.
Okay. I'm going to ask you 5 yay or nays now. So, going to give us your opinion if it's a yes or no.
Hit me with
I'm going to
it.
start you really easy. You've
Okay.
probably been raised on this first one. Yorkshire tea, yay or nay?
No.
No.
Not asked. Don't drink tea.
Oh,
I drink peppermint tea.
dude, you're posh now.
Chills me out, mate.
He's a
Relax.
dad now. He drinks peppermint tea to get off to sleep. Okay.
I do.
Football.
No.
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 Okay. I was expecting that. Well done steak.
No.
No. No. What are you going for with the steak?
Medium rare.
Yeah, that's the right answer. What do you two
That's
think?
the right answer.
Burnt.
Really? You're crazy.
Burnt. Charcoal.
You're crazy.
Not well done.
You're crazy.
Oh God, we're being recorded by idiots.
You're crazy.
Well,
Christians, innit?
what would Tristian say? How would he have his steak?
Tristian?
Just raw.
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 Well,
'Cause
what did the Liver King do? And he's got muscles.
it's that fluid, you can get straight into it.
Straight
Yeah.
into
So let's ask Tristian Yorkshire tea. What's Tristian saying? There's a great line in here. This is a clip. If you get this right, this is a clip. What's Tristian saying to Yorkshire tea?
I'm not sure, to be fair. What's Tristian's name to Yorkshire tea? It's not saying much. He's not saying
He's not
much.
saying. What about football?
Yeah, I am Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire Tristian.
Yorkshire Tristan.
No, that's terrible.
Right, we'll
That was
move on
shit.
from Tristan.
That was shit.
Well,
I'll leave that
he needs
out.
to get in character.
He drinks green tea because it's been told that it burns fat. That's what he does.
So I asked I asked a lady in my life if I was allowed to say this, and she was like, yeah, go for it, it's not offensive. Hoovering up, what I call pink jobs.
Vacuum.
Do you do...
Cleaning up at the house? Not as much as Penny.
No.
I get cussed out for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to go away from this and think about what you've done, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for hiring a cleaner. And then Penny's like, you can't hire a cleaner.
Delegating.
We live in a 2-bed. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. We had my mum do it for a bit. It was class.
Okay.
Used to give her a bit of cash in hand. 100 quid a month. She'd come down once a week. She was there for fucking hours.
Couldn't get rid of it.
She was there with the dog, just playing and just fucking... She did a mint job. Race.
Roast dinner, but I'm going to go through options. Yorkshire puddings,
Yeah.
pigs in blankets.
Fucking hell. I mean, that's for Christmas dinner. But I mean, if someone give it me, yeah, I'd be happy with it, yeah. I mean, roast, yeah.
Stuffing,
Yeah, why not?
applesauce.
No, I don't really have it, to be fair. I would eat it, though.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, not really. I wouldn't.
Okay. So, in the spirit of me asking you that first question, you can go with something funny. You can go with something that you actually want to know the answer to, somebody else's take. What should I open my next podcast with as a question?
What's been one of the hardest things you've had to go through that's helped you?
That is really good. That's a deep question to start someone on. So, what do you think, just to kind of close on, what's the best advice you've ever had from someone? What's something that you want people to, like, if they've made it this far, go away and, like, actually think about?
I got asked this question the other day, and it's what really applies to the guys that I coach. It just applies to like a young version of me. Because someone asked this question the other day about what is the best piece of advice I've ever been given, and it was nothing fancy or it was nothing super profound. And I think it was my dad actually, which is ironic because I don't think he thought the gym thing was really a job. But he was like, I'm pretty sure he said, when I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I grew up or whatever, it was. Do something you enjoy and do something you're good at.
And do you?
Yeah, fucking ace it. I love it.
Awesome. Sweet. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, as always. Thank you for
very
coming.
much. Yeah.
I'll speak to you soon.
Awesome, G. Could have done that all
It's
day.
like a football deal. Sign the contract, look into the camera.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let go now.
Sorry.
Awesome.
Wrap.
Sweet.